Or a local dispensary is calling for action to keep unregulated cannabis products out of gas stations and convenience stores. Thanks for being here at 4. I'm Kay Quinn.
And I'm Brent Solomon. This comes after 4 Sumner High School students had to be rushed to the hospital after taking edibles or gummies yesterday afternoon. 5 on your side's Diamond Palmer joins us now with what she's learning. Diamond.
Well, Brent, K. St. Louis Public School spokesperson says 6 other students were evaluated for symptoms and released to their parents. They said the items were purchased at a nearby convenience store. Field State Dispensary in Florissant says it doesn't want the industry painted in the bad light. Now, in 2018, the Farm Bill federally legalized cannabis with less than 0.3% THC in it, which classifies it as hemp. Field State Dispensary says convenience stores and gas stations market it with flashy packaging. The dispensary says Sumner students more than likely got their hands on what's known as federally legal hemp intoxicants. Variants they could have gotten their hands on include Delta 8, 9, or 10.
They did this because they wanted to bolster the CBD industry, and people really got into it, but it created a glut on the market, and people had all of this CBD lying around. Well, they started to focus on other cannabinoids that could be created out of CBD, one of them being THC. And that is more than likely what was the cannabinoid that was found in the products that those kids took.
The district spokesperson for St. Louis Public Schools says the student who distributed the edibles has been identified and will be disciplined according to the district's code of conduct.
Very interesting, Diamond. Thank you. The man wanted for a shooting at a Granite City police officer is now dead. Illinois State Police say Donald Freeze led police on a chase and got into a shootout with them last night in East Cape Girardeau. They say Freeze's vehicle eventually got stuck in a field. He then shot officers who fired back, killing him. The Granite City officer who was hurt is now out of the hospital. A second man charged in the deaths of a 7-year-old girl and her father has accepted a plea deal. Andre Anderson pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter in the deaths of Demaya Fleming and Darion Rankin Fleming in the Central West End. Anderson is sentenced to 10 years in prison. His co-defendant, Javon Nettles, was sentenced back in October.
It's been a busy day in Washington, D.C. for local advocates trying to get compensation for radiation exposure. 5 on your side's Tracy Hinson caught up with a St. Louis County activist as she took a break from lobbying in our nation's capital. Tracy?
So, Kay, she was huddled in Missouri Senator Hawley's office conference room. Don Chapman of Just Moms STL was joined by Missouri Representative Tricia Burns and Matthew Kalpaby, an advocate from Arizona. They were getting in a quick lunch in between rallying support for RECA, the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act. Advocates met with Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri in hopes he can introduce the act to a bill that would pass. If it were to pass, the hope is Missourians would be included in compensation for radiation exposure, including the areas around Westlake Landfill and Coldwater Creek.
It's a lot today, as you can see. We're all here together. It's this really amazing coalition of people, and I know we look a little rough. We literally are running down hallways trying to make meetings and just educate and advocate. So we have hope. I think that it's a hopeful day. It's just an exhausting day.
Now, advocates have tried to get the expansion of RECA through before, but it has been cut from different bills.
All right, thank you, Tracy. Now to the ongoing abortion debate in Missouri. Today, a Republican-led effort to restore abortion rights ended its campaign. The group hoped to amend Missouri's constitution to allow abortion up to 12 weeks into pregnancy. After that, abortion would be allowed in cases of rape and incest. A plan backed by Planned Parenthood is still pushing forward. It seeks to enshrine abortion rights in the state constitution while allowing lawmakers to regulate it after viability.
A new Justice Department report says President Biden willfully retained and disclosed highly classified materials when he was a private citizen. But Special Counsel Robert Hur will not prosecute Biden. The report details the reasons why Biden should not be charged with the crime. It says Biden portrayed himself as a, quote, elderly man with a poor memory who would be sympathetic to a jury. In a statement shared late this afternoon, Biden highlighted that no charges have been filed and that he cooperated completely with investigators. Well, today the Supreme Court heard arguments that could determine whether former President Trump can run for office again.
It all stems from the Colorado Supreme Court's decision to ban Trump from state presidential primary ballots. And the justices appeared skeptical of the Colorado court's decision, which ruled he engaged in insurrection in trying to overturn the 2020 election, leading to the January 6th Capitol attack. Both conservative and liberal justices questioned whether Congress should enact a national standard before states can invoke provision of the Constitution's 14th Amendment to prevent people who engaged in insurrection from holding office.
A goodly number of states will say, whoever the Democratic candidate is, you're off the ballot, and others, for the Republican candidate, you're off the ballot.
I think that the question that you have to confront is why a single state should decide who gets to be president of the United States.
The Supreme Court is expected to make its ruling within weeks. The Colorado primary is set for Super Tuesday, March 5th.
Happening right now, vote by mail ballots for the Illinois primary are now going out, and you can apply for a mail-in ballot through March 14th. Ballots must be postmarked by March 19th in order to be counted. They cannot be dropped off at a polling place, but you can surrender it to an election judge and vote in person. You can also vote early in person.
Tonight, the Francis Howell School District and Board will discuss its new plan for its Black History courses. Back in December, the board voted to remove Black History and Black Literature electives. After pushback from students and parents, the board reinstated the classes, but with changes. The meeting begins at 6:30 tonight at the Francis Howell School District Administration Building in O'Fallon.
Well, it was planned for MLK weekend, but had to be postponed until Super Bowl weekend, where there's a big food giveaway happening Saturday.
It's been a mainstay on West Clay and St. Charles for 25 years. Now, Culpeppers is closing its doors.
And we're talking about clouds, and they'll be moving back in and across the region, especially as we head into the weekend. And then something heads our way Sunday night into Monday. That's going to be interesting. We'll see you in about 10 minutes.